So what's actually happening when we add and subtract decimals? And how can we use what's happening there to do some of this stuff mentally? That's what we're thinking about right now. So let's think about this question here. 1 3/10 plus 8/10. What does that mean? Well, it means we have one whole, right? We take a second whole, because it's 1 and a bit more, and we'll need to subdivide it into tenths. All right, so we've done that. 1 and then a bunch of tenths here. How many of those tenths do we have? Well, there are 3/10. Right? To this 1 3/10, we want to add not another whole, but 8/10. So this is what it kind of looks like in your head. 1 3/10 plus 8/10. Now, when I'm doing this sort of stuff in my head, what I'm actually trying to do is, in a sense, fill up my next whole. So I have 3/10, and I say, how much more does it take to make 2 wholes? Well, I'm actually breaking this down into 7/10 and 1 more. Show you what I mean. I take 7 of these tenths to fill it up. One 3/10. This here gives me 2 wholes and 1/10. 2 and 1/10. Can you see that? So I'm starting to think this way in my head. I can visually think of what's happening. I'm counting up to the next whole. Well, what about this question? This question looks a little different. It's still 1 3/10, but now what do I have to do? Now I have to subtract 8/10 from this. That's pretty tough. Well, you can see I can get rid of 3 right here. That's pretty easy. But what I'm going to have to do is think about this whole as 10/10. Take away 3/10 to walk me down to the whole. And then how many more? What's really happening? I'm actually thinking about this, partitioning this 8/10 into 3/10 and 5/10. I'm taking away the 3 first, taking away 1 3/10, and then I'm going to take away another 5/10. 1 3/10, take away another 5/10. And what am I left with? 5/10. I can also think of this as adding up. I'm starting with 8/10. Now, same question. 1 3/10 minus 8/10. But now I'm starting with 8/10. And I'm saying, this is really moving down to starting with 8/10 and saying, how much more do I need to reach 1 3/10? Well, I can add another 2/10 here. That's going to take me to 1 whole. I just count up by tenths. 1 whole, add 1 more tenth, 2 more tenths, 3 more tenths. See how I do that? I'm making a whole. If you remember way back to grades 2 and 3, you were talking a lot about making tens. Well, now we're making wholes. And I'm counting up. How much? What's my total? Well, difference between 1 3/10 and 8/10 is 5/10. Now, I can use this exact same strategy for more complex questions like this. I can think about 2 7/10, and I say, how much more do I need to make 3/10? Let's write down this question here. I'm going to start partitioning this number into, well, numbers that will make it a little easier to work with. So let me think about this first of all. 2 7/10 plus 6 wholes. Well, I can do that in my head. That's 8 7/10. Can you see that? Now then, I can also add 3 more tenths. And that's going to give me 9 wholes. And then lastly, I can add this little bit left, and I have 5/100. Even really complex ones like this, we can do in our head if we understand place value. If we understand this idea of making wholes, making tenths, making hundredths, why don't you try this one all by yourself?